In a revelation destined to upend every alliance and grip on power within the intertwined worlds of fashion and family that define the bold and the beautiful, the secret lineage of Luna Nozawa has finally been exposed, and with it, a host of loyalties will shatter, alliances will shift, and long-buried rivalries will be reignited. It all began when Poppy Nozawa, in a moment of cathartic confession that no one saw coming, admitted that Luna's true father is none other than Nick Marone, the very man whose return to Los Angeles had already set hearts racing and tempers flaring. For Brooke Logan, who had only just begun to consider a future with Nick after the ups and downs of her storied romances, the news was nothing short of earth-shattering. She watched, stunned and betrayed, as Poppy, her former friend and now the keeper of an explosive secret, revealed that the bright, creative young woman toiling alongside Ridge Forrester at Forrester Creations, that same woman who had captivated Ridge's attention with her avant-garde sketches and empathetic charm, was in fact Nick's daughter, conceived in a whirlwind affair years ago in Paris, a secret pregnancy hidden from everyone until just now. Brooke's world tilted on its axis as she digested the implications. She thought she knew Nick, the passionate Marone heir, the charismatic foil to Ridge's more methodical temperament, but she had never known him as a man who could father a child in secret and leave that child to be raised by someone else, someone outside the orbit of the Spencer Marone clan. And yet there it was, confirmed by Poppy's tear-stained admission. Luna, the young designer whose gentle spirit had so captivated Ridge and earned the admiration of Eric Forrester himself, was Nick's flesh and blood. In that instant, Brooke felt every promise Nick had made her suddenly weigh heavy with doubt. How many other secrets had he kept? What other corners of his life lay hidden from her, waiting to surface at the least opportune moment? As tears blurred her vision, she realized that her burgeoning happiness with Nick was built on shifting sands, that every tender moment they had shared now carried an undercurrent of deception. At Forrester Creations, Ridge Forrester responded to the news with the steely composure that has defined him through decades of personal turmoil. He had grown fond of Luna. Her fresh perspective, her willingness to challenge the status quo, and the way she seemed to understand the complexities of the human heart almost intuitively. To him, she was a rising star in the Forrester galaxy, a talented designer whose presence promised new directions for the storied fashion house. But once Poppy's bombshell dropped, Ridge's mind shifted gears from creative potential to strategic calculation. He saw in Luna's newfound parentage a potent trump card that could be wielded in the ongoing conflict between the Logan and Spencer factions. If Ridge played his hand carefully, he could leverage Luna's connection to Nick Marone to destabilize Bill Spencer's influence at Spencer Publications, to remind Bill and the rest of the world that the Marone bloodline ran deeper and further than anyone had imagined. Yet even as Ridge contemplated the corporate and familial permutations of Luna's lineage, a nagging disquiet settled in his chest. Luna was, in his estimation, innocent of the power plays swirling around her. She deserved to be celebrated for her own talents, not manipulated as a pawn in the war for legacy and prestige. Across the city, at Marone Industries, Nick Marone confronted the ramifications of Poppy's confession with a cocktail of regret, guilt, and a fervent desire to make amends. He saw in Luna's wide, searching eyes the face of a daughter he had never truly known, a young woman who had grown up without his name, without his guidance, and now, suddenly, faced the shock of learning that the man she once only regarded as a charming acquaintance was her biological father. Nick's first instinct was to rush to Luna, to embrace her and apologize for every year of her life he had missed, to tell her that he loved her and that he would do anything to earn her trust. But he also knew that stepping into her world so abruptly could overwhelm her, could make her feel as though she had become the center of a scandal she never asked to be part of. He balanced on a knife's edge between the desperate need to claim his role as father and the imperative to protect Luna's sense of self from the corrosive effects of sensationalized headlines and corporate scheming. Meanwhile, Brooke Logan found herself caught in the crossfire, her heart torn between compassion for Luna, a young woman suddenly thrust into a maelstrom of adult machinations, and anger at Nick for keeping the truth hidden. Her relationship with Nick, still in its fragile early days of sweet promise and cautious trust, now buckled under the weight of Poppy's revelation. Every loving gesture he had offered her over the past weeks came back to haunt him, tinted by the questions Brooke could no longer silence. Why lie about the most fundamental part of your life? How could I ever trust your words again? Yet, beneath her anger lay something darker, fear. Fear that, if she pushed Nick away now, she might lose not only the man she had come to care for deeply, but also any chance of anchoring herself in a fresh, unburdened future. She had endured enough heartbreak in a life defined by rivalries and shifting alliances. Could she bear another betrayal of this magnitude? Back at Forrester Creations, the news rippled through the design team like a shockwave. Collaborators who had once admired Luna now whispered behind her back, speculating about her motives and her loyalties. Would she defect to Marone Industries? Would she seek to pit Forrester against Spencer? The usually ornate studios felt cold with suspicion, and Luna, caught in the epicenter, struggled to maintain her composure. She had come here to pursue her passion for design, to carve out her own identity apart from the tangled legacies of her parents. The revelation of her paternity threatened not only her sense of self, but also her nascent career at Forrester, a career she had built on talent, not inherited privilege. Each time she admired a dress under construction or sketched out a new silhouette, she had to fend off the gnawing dread that everything she had earned might be dismissed as the result of her famous bloodline. Ridge watched all of this unfold with a strategist's mind, seeing in the chaos a chance to press an advantage. He approached Luna with genuine concern, billing his gesture as mentorship and support. But behind the scenes, he tipped off trusted associates to quietly gather intel on her, to understand how Marone Industries might move to claim her as a brand ambassador or designer in residence. He instructed his inner circle to keep a close eye on Bill Spencer's maneuvers at Spencer Publications, anticipating that Bill would jump at the chance to leverage Luna's paternity for his own ends, just as Ridge intended to do. The brewing storm of corporate intrigue, Ridge realized, could elevate Forrester Creations to new heights if he played his cards just so, if he managed to expose Luna's lineage at precisely the right moment to discredit Bill's next big initiative. Yet despite the thrill of a possible victory, Ridge could not shake the moral twinge that grew sharper each time he considered using Luna as a pawn. He had always prided himself on championing talent above pedigree, on believing that true artistry transcended family ties. Poppy Nozawa, meanwhile, found herself both liberated and doomed by her confession. For years, she had carried Luna's secret as a burden, watching Nick's career rise and fall, witnessing his public entanglements, and fearing that any slip might reveal what she knew. When she finally told Brooke, she did so partly to unburden her conscience and partly because she believed Brooke deserved the truth before committing further to Nick. But Poppy underestimated the fallout. Brooke snapped back at her with a fury that Poppy had never seen, accusing her of wanton betrayal of two families, of recklessly unleashing a scandal that threatened to destroy countless relationships. Poppy, hurt by Brooke's words, retreated into herself, determined to protect Luna at all costs, even if it meant severing ties with both Logan and Marone before they could hurt Luna further. As the intrigue deepened, forces aligned in surprising ways. For a brief moment, Brooke and Luna found common ground, sharing a silent understanding of what it means to grapple with the legacy of a man's choices. Brooke from years of navigating the mercurial affections of Ridge and Nick, and Luna from the shock of finally learning her true father. In hushed conversations backstage at the Forrester runway shows, Brooke offered Luna encouragement, reminding her that talent and integrity would ultimately define her, not the circumstances of her birth. But that fragile truce was undermined the next day when Bill Spencer leaked a doctored email suggesting that Brooke had known of Luna's paternity all along, a maneuver designed to turn Brooke's allyship into evidence of duplicity. Ridge, in turn, leaked a private memo from Spencer Publications that hinted at Bill's plan to force Luna out of Forrester Creations unless Ridge agreed to merge their design houses. The scandal had become a high-stakes chess match, every player moving in shadows, every gesture laden with hidden intent. Amidst this whirlwind of deception and power plays, Nick Marone sought to chart a path of redemption. He held a quiet dinner at the Marone estate, privately inviting Luna, Poppy, Brooke, Ridge, and Eric to a table illuminated by candlelight and tempered by the expectation of healing. He confessed, again and again, his regret for the secrets and the pain they had caused. He offered to step back from his romantic involvement with Brooke if that would bring peace. He pledged to support Luna's career at Forrester without interference. He vowed to make amends to every person affected by his actions. For one shimmering hour, it seemed as though the old wounds might begin to scab over, that the families might find a path forward built on honesty rather than manipulation. But as forks and knives clinked against fine china, Poppy's eyes caught Brooke's, and in that instant Brooke realized that Nick's promises, even at this intimate gathering, could not undo the hurt. When Ridge raised a quiet toast to new beginnings, his words rang hollow for many around the table. Beginnings require endings, and endings require sacrifices that no one seemed prepared to make. By the episode's climax, the delicate web of loyalties had snapped, sending each character hurtling down a separate path. Brooke stormed out, determined to reevaluate her relationship with Nick, to decide whether love can truly overcome betrayal on this scale. Luna, tears streaking her cheeks, retreated to her design studio, vowing never again to let her heritage define her worth. Ridge returned to his office, the weight of his ambitions pressing on him like an iron corset. Victory in the corporate arena felt hollow without the knowledge that he had protected innocent talent, not exploited it. Nick, heartbroken and chastened, watched from his balcony as Brooke's car disappeared into the night, realizing that some secrets have the power to change everything, and that some wounds, once opened, can never fully heal. And Poppy, at home, stared at a photograph of Luna as a child, her heart heavy with the knowledge that while the truth had finally set her free, it may also have doomed the family bonds she had fought so hard to preserve. In the aftermath, as Los Angeles churned with gossip, and as Forrester Creations and Spencer Publications braced for boardroom battles, one truth emerged above all. The secret lineage of Luna was not just the revelation of a hidden paternity. It was a catalyst for reckoning, a mirror reflecting the costs of deception in a world where legacy and love are forever entwined. And as viewers tune in to watch the fallout unfold, one question will hang in the air like the final note of a symphony unresolved. When the dust settles, who among them will stand unbroken? And who will find that the price of truth is a bond that can never be repaired? Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful on June 20th, 2025, promises to deliver pulse-quickening drama in every scene, with two of the show's most formidable women, Taylor Hayes and Brooke Logan, clashing over the one thing they both care about most, the men at the center of their lives, Ridge Forrester and Nick Marone. From the opening moments, Viewers will witness Taylor and Brooke step into a confrontation long in the making, their disagreement electrified by decades of history, layered betrayals, and unwavering loyalties. As Ridge and Nick's rivalry simmers just beneath the surface of every exchange, Taylor and Brooke will take opposing sides in a high-stakes debate over where true allegiance should lie and what it really means to love a man whose heart seems forever divided. Previously on The Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke Logan once again found herself oscillating between her lifelong belief that Ridge Forrester is her destined partner and the unexpected resurgence of Nick Marone in her world. Brooke's steadfast conviction that Ridge is the anchor of her life was shattered the moment Nick strolled back into Los Angeles, exuding the same rugged charm and quiet intensity that first drew her to him. He surprised her with a kiss. Bold, impassioned, and utterly transformative, leaving Brooke breathless and questioning everything she thought she knew about her relationship with Ridge. Nick's return was no mere cameo. He made it clear he has always harbored feelings for Brooke, and he wants to extricate her from a marriage he believes no longer serves her. In their private conversation, Brooke even admitted to her sister Katie that she felt a spark she cannot ignore. An admission that sent Katie reeling with concern for her sibling's heart. Brooke's confession about that electric kiss revealed a woman torn between duty and desire, a woman who must now reckon with the possibility that her happily ever after might lie with Nick, not Ridge. Meanwhile, Ridge and Taylor Hayes have settled into a relationship that has steadily deepened since Ridge finally acknowledged the bond they share. Unlike the volatile ups and downs of his past with Brooke, Ridge and Taylor's union has been defined by candid heart-to-heart talks, shared vulnerabilities, and an understanding rooted in Taylor's background as a psychologist. Ridge made his commitment plain not just to Taylor, but to the entire Forrester and Logan clans, including a stunned Brooke and a wary Eric Forrester. Taylor and Ridge recently held a private discussion about Brooke's persistent presence in their marriage. Her unexpected appearances at Forrester Creations and her habit of inserting herself into Ridge's life whenever he least expects it. Taylor, ever the perceptive observer of human behavior, expressed concern that Brooke's emotional hold on Ridge may prove more tenacious than he realizes. Ridge, for his part, assured Taylor that his devotion is resolute, that the chapter of his life with Brooke is closed, and that he intends to build a future with Taylor free from the shadows of the past. Yet, even as he spoke those words, Ridge's clenched jaw and narrowed gaze whenever Brooke's name arose betrayed the fact that old wounds sometimes hurt the deepest. The return of Nick Marone only inflamed Ridge's bruised pride. Their rivalry dated back years, a rivalry sparked by romance, sharpened by betrayal, and kept alive by mutual disdain. In Ridge's eyes, Nick epitomizes everything coarse and untrustworthy, a man who once shattered his marriage to Brooke and dared to think he could claim a place in the Forrester-Logan legacy. So when Nick arrived in Los Angeles, his very presence was an affront to Ridge, a provocation that Ridge could not ignore. Ridge's contempt for Nick is visceral. Every terse exchange, every steely glare in the hallway of Forrester Creations bears the weight of bitter history. Ridge resents Nick's attempts to woo Brooke, seeing them as a challenge not only to his marriage with Taylor, but to his identity as a man who believed he and Brooke were soulmates. Ridge has loudly insisted that Nick steer clear of Brooke, warning him that any further interference will be met with formidable resistance fueled by both Ridge's love for Taylor and the lingering embers of his bond with Brooke. On the other side of this conflict stands Taylor Hayes, caught between her analytical mind and her emotional heart. Taylor should, by all rights, welcome Nick's disruptive influence on Brooke, if only because it keeps Ridge's attention firmly on her. A distracted husband is often a dangerous liability, and Taylor knows that if Ridge's gaze ever drifts back toward Brooke, their hard-won happiness could unravel. Yet Taylor cannot bring herself to embrace Nick's tactics simply because they serve her personal agenda. She sees in Nick's provocations not only a potential threat to Brooke's well-being, but also a sign that Ridge's jealousy over Brooke's choices is more intense than she had anticipated. Taylor's intuition warns her that jealousy, even born of love, can poison a marriage with suspicion and resentment. Thus Taylor's frustration with Ridge deepens. She loves him fiercely, but she bristles at his inability to focus solely on the life they have built and at his fixation on a woman who insists she is no longer his. As Friday's tension escalates, Taylor and Brooke will seize any opportunity to land verbal jabs at one another, using Ridge and Nick as figurative battlegrounds. Brooke will accuse Taylor of manipulating Ridge's emotions to keep him tethered, while Taylor will retort that Brooke's intermittent reappearances prove she never truly let Ridge go. Brooke will highlight Ridge's undying devotion to Taylor as a betrayal of the promises he once made to Brooke, even as Taylor emphasizes that Ridge's choice to stand by her is a testament to the authenticity of their love. Neither woman will back down, neither will yield an inch, and in every charged word exchanged, the fault lines that run through their shared past will be laid bare. The audience will feel the electric pull of their antagonism, the kind of clash that only two women who have both loved and lost the same man can ignite. Throughout all this, Nick will remain a strategic observer, stepping in at key moments to remind Ridge and Taylor why he still matters to Brooke. He will pursue Brooke relentlessly, not with cheap theatrics, but with the insistence of a man convinced they share a future. His calm confidence will contrast sharply with Ridge's raw emotion, underscoring the philosophical divide between a love born of stability and one rekindled by passion. Nick will caution Brooke against placing her happiness in the hands of a man who vacillates, urging her to seize the certainty of a love that demands nothing more than her presence. In doing so, he will unsettle both Ridge and Taylor, forcing them to confront their own insecurities and to question whether, in trying to protect their bond, they have neglected to nurture it. By the episode's climax, Taylor and Brooke will engage in a pivotal showdown on the Forrester Creations balcony, set against the glittering city lights, with Ridge stepping onto the scene just as accusations reach a fever pitch. Brooke, voice quivering with emotion, will declare that no one can dictate her love life, not Ridge and not Taylor. Taylor, poised yet fierce, will fire back that a marriage built on fairy tales and nostalgia cannot withstand the realities of grown-up life.